G'day, ahoy, and hello, and welcome back. It is day 3, which is why you get 3 welcomes back on week 4. I'm Papa Pipe. We got Skimmy and Tally, your absolute star-studded casters, joining me on tonight's desk as well. Gents, well, first off, Skimmy, how was your TFT, man?
Look, I've put the phone down. We were 1 round away from finishing, but you know, this is far more important.
It takes over.
So we're locking in.
We're ready to go. You won? We're all good. Maybe. I don't know. You'll have to check back after these games. But let's have a quick look at some replays from yesterday's games and see how our players went. Let's have a look.
This is not a trade.
Yeah, this is absolutely not a trade. We see Voice going for the stop, but I think this might mean he falls down, Skimmy.
A little bit too greedy there, Tally. A little bit too overforced. It's really got to be the key thing there. Reneko jumps in as well, also hunting for a play. Draco's had enough time to actually reset, fully regroup the rest of the team and back up these 2 members down to sub 20% HP. They will, in the end, fall on down. The perseverance of Mammoth was good enough. Okay, imagine I'm on all... Wait, I can't even talk, can I? I'm actually just cheating. I'm actually just straight up cheating.
As we see a trade going on a bot lane, and Voice might not be taking enough to survive this.
He may have done actually enough to bait this one beautifully, right? So low, but a summoner heal is enough to keep him up for the meantime. They turn over to Jonathan Rays, lock him down for as much CC as they can find. But as the CC drops, so do the members of Mammoth. He was the focus of the good reason too, Tally. He's sitting on a double right now. Foreigner is saying, here, take the triple.
Can we get a check of your chair? Can we get a little feel of what you were sitting on right now? Now, okay, so I know a lot of people are very particular about their setup, and you know, as
where's your armrest?
You don't even have armrest. Just like you don't care about like your current setup.
People will cope and say it's all about the setup, but all you need is pure skill, to be honest.
Well, the support gap is the difference in this occasion. Schönfire is actually going to get flashed upon, instant stun on his face. He's not going to use the flash himself right now. He's just going to simply perish.
I'm used to being 0-3 at the start of the game. Solo queue vibes.
And Ginter's without the Skarner, it's easy pickings for me now, straight into the backline. Lockstern Harry,
Violet.
That flash, it means nothing. Violet says, it's time to shine again. Can I hit that late game pop-off potential? The answer is no. And this is gonna feel so bad for Bliss here.
Yep.
Ain't no way Brodus went from this to this.
It's going to be so obvious once we get it, but production, please. Gwen!
Gwen!
What is this? What is this? It's so cute! I'm still concerned about that. We just needed this though, Tally. But look, chat got it. We didn't. That's okay. So obviously our heads were in a different spot. But we're back for the final time of, you know I'm going to do it. Super Week! Always, every time. I love doing it. But Tally, it's been some monumental games thus far.
Yeah, I think this Super Week has definitely lived up to the hype that we expected to go. Like banger games. Even though we're seeing a lot of 2-0s, I think a lot of these series have been pretty close, and I think they could have gone either way. You know, if some of the throws didn't happen, but yeah, so far I'm excited and I'm happy to close it off with some of the games we get to have today.
Well, throws or not, let's have a look at today's schedule and see what's going to be played on your screens tonight. It is, in fact, Ion Global versus Mammoth Esports to start the night off into Ground Zero versus Direwolves. We've got a lot to break down here, though, Skimmy. But all these teams looking pretty good.
Yeah, across the board, not too bad. You're looking at Ion coming into this one as 4th. Mammoth only 3 points behind them in 6th at this stage, right? A couple of teams tied in that 4th spot, so Ion will no doubt be looking to try and showcase that they are a little bit better than the Direwolves and that they deserve to be that team in the conversation of can we eke out an advantage against the top 3. So I think this first game should be a bit of a banger to try and set the tone for our first Super Week.
Really going to start showing us the different standings, but I think it's that final game, the Ground Zero versus Direwolves 2, that's really going to show us the goods, is why Ground Zero deserves to be at the top, but also we've seen that roster change come out too, but what we all have on our lips right now is these off-meta picks that just keep throwing us off. We got the Nasus, we got the Amumu yesterday on Ground Zero, we got some more we could be putting out, so let's have a quick look at that, Skimmy, and let's see what we're looking at, and look at these as well, Tally, too.
I'm a really big fan of punishing the meta shift. We're seeing a lot of like these really strong, melee junglers and supports. We're seeing the Warmog stackers, and I think like Zyra was already popping up before that. I think that champ is extremely strong now. The amount of burn damage you can do throughout a team fight. the slows, just everything. It's so hard to deal with. But I also think another champ that's being slept on right now is Siva. I think that Siva is one of the best front-to-back AD carries when she's allowed to scale, and if those boomerangs are allowed to bounce between, you know, just these meathead comps we're seeing in the LCO, that this champ might just be able to take over the league completely.
But as well, Skimmy, we've got the Tarek there. We've got Nico as well, both in the support role. Like, I think the Nico's been a little bit, but Tarek we saw not too long ago being so big with Kalista. And I think we've already talked about how Kalista's not really the biggest thing. But Tarek, though, do you see this maybe popping up in a couple games tonight?
I don't know if it's going to come out. I think there's definitely potential if you have this very like all-in kind of composition. I guess similar in a way to a Siva, where you just want to get that movement speed, run members down. Obviously, if they're going to go for like the full wombo combo, you just press the Cosmic Radiance, you kind of laugh at them, right? Obviously, that skill element in terms of making sure that you've pressed it at the right time, so it comes online a couple of seconds later. But I think there's certainly a place for these champions, right? If you're going to go for all these melee supports, we talked about the reintroduction of Leona. I think there's certainly a place for Tarek. We've seen it in the past, right? I think with I think it was last play by like Raisin Drek, who was this kind of like bouncy castle. Tristana goes in, runs back, gets a heal, has the Bastion active the entire time. It's just an absolute juggernaut. So I think there's certainly a place, but I'd probably imagine the most likely would be the Zyra, seeing it in the jungle position, perhaps some cheeky 20-minute on-spawn Barons. I chucked into Darius as like a kind of cool one, just based on the fact that we're seeing so much Camille. Maybe another answer to try and cheese out like the early laning advantage, right? Be really annoying. So there's a lot up in the air, just up to the players whether or not they feel comfortable bringing it from their solo queue games into the scrims and then onto our screens here on stage.
Well, you've just mentioned champions and screens. And we've got one more thing that we have to do with some more champions. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, it's your favorite segment besides the games. It's the Champion Conundrum. Woohoo!
Is today the day luck's with you? Is it now your life could renew? Then you must play the game, cause I have to proclaim life's a game of chance.
This or that, it is definitely this because we are in the Champion Conundrum. It is day 3. Very excited for this one. It's going to be the old charades again. Going to get those mime movements acting out. We're going to get a couple of these over for Tally. He's going to be super excited. It's not charades. It's this or that. I apologize.
Just say
How could you do that?
Look,
no, you got me excited.
I was excited too, but that's okay. Let's get the first one off the board and see what we're dealing with. And okay, old versus new. This or that brand. Skimmy?
Look, I'm gonna say this was a good update because on the old one, it's almost like a Charmander. It's just starting out, you know, it hasn't found its feet just yet. On the right side though, just pure devastation. This is an absolute cataclysm there. Fire everywhere. That's what you think when you see brand, and that's certainly like Shern on the left-hand side, 0-5. Shern at the end when Ground Zero won that match, right? So yeah, I much prefer the new one.
Yeah, I'd have to say so. But Tally as well. What are you thinking?
Yeah, this is definitely a new one. The old skin has no aura at all. The new one, you know, that's like he's Cataclysm Hive. I don't know what to say. That guy is popping off.
I just like that he's got the fire fully out of his hands, though. Like, he's actually going nuts. But here's the next one. Okay, this or that, Caitlyn. Oh,
I gotta go with the old one. You know,
I actually prefer the old one too.
It's just nostalgic. You know, whenever I see this skin, it's so, I don't know, it's just so cool. And I feel like the hat, it has a lot more energy to it.
That's 100% what I was going to say. It's the hat for me, because like I remember, I think there was a ward around that hat too, or something more about that hat that I loved. So I'm going to go with the old as well. But Skimmy as well, you said you were feeling it too?
Yeah, I like the nostalgia element. There's certain champions, right? You see them, you just remember the good old days. Oh, we've already selected this one. Well, it has to be old now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it has
I mean, look at this guy. Bro's just like dribbling everywhere. He's got the pre-workout all around his lips. He's a happy man. I don't know what's going on there. The new one, it's almost too clean. It's almost too good.
Yeah, it's not Mundo.
Yeah.
It's this old skin that gives me the Mundo shoe shop vibes. The new one's like he's got paper, like he's thinking. That's not what Mundo does. He just runs at you. He doesn't think.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm going to go with old too. I just like the almost like the cartoon style of it. Like I think you said the new style looked too clean. I like the older style. That's the sort of drawings I like to do too. So let's get to the next one and have a bit of a look, as we're liking a lot of old stuff at the moment. Oh, okay. Oh,
This is easy.
I don't know.
Easy?
This is easy. You gotta go old Karthus here. This is the classic revive TP Karthus. You know, the splash art. Like every time you see Bates Karthus, like this, such a cool skin.
Well, now that you've put it like that, I kind of have to do it. Like I think the aura on that, besides the brand one as well, that's looking pretty fire. Skimmy?
I'm going to be against the grain here. I actually kind of like the new one. I like the Ring of Souls, like flying around on that splash shot there. I think that's kind of sick. So I'm actually going to be a new fan believer. So now production doesn't know what to do. Which one do we fade out?
Well, I think two. I think it's two versus one. It's like I've gone for the old one. When second you said revive Karthus, I was like, that's exactly what I loved to do back in the day. So I was vibing with that real quick. But okay, next one. Okay, Misfortune. This or that.
One,
I'm
bro.
going new.
Old one.
I'm going
Old
new.
one.
I'm
going new.
Nah, bro. Old one for me.
Why?
Look at this, bro. Foot on the barrel. Absolutely blasting. Not a care in the world. CS miss. Do I mind? Not really. Is my support in lane? Nah, they're probably off laning, topside, ganking. Couldn't care less. You can see the fire in the background there because Carnage is happening all over the map. They're vibing. They're just emote spamming in lane. They've won the mental battle.
Nah, man, that's like a Timu skin right there. Like, that's not what you want. That's
good,
cheap,
bro.
man. It's kitsch. I'm not a fan. Misfortune in that new one? Damn. Like, blew up a ship in the background too. Look at that. Damn. Like, yeah, that's what I want to take into the Rift. Just blasted. Absolutely blasted. Oh, okay, this is a hard one.
Old
for
Nunu
sure.
support. Nunu with Kog'Maw. GG. You just won.
Just sitting in
You
lane.
were just so good.
Look, I'll go with the old one. I just like that the splash out there does look cool, though. Like, we have to agree that it still looked cool, but the old one beats it still. I agree with that.
Taipei Assassins, Nunu. Oh, it's just GG, bro. You just actually won every game.
Ooh, Rengar?
See, this is really close. They're very similar, right? Like the old Rengar splash is pretty high quality.
I'm gonna go new.
Yeah, I think the new.
I'm gonna go new just because it feels like Rengar's like sort of jumping at me, and I feel like that has a little bit more impact on me as like a viewer, right?
It looks like he aged as well, right? Like old Rengar looks young, and new Rengar looks much older.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I kind of like the splash of blood on the blades as well in the new one.
Yeah.
Right? I think it just kind of like shows that like I will just one shot you. Whereas the other one is kind of like your cat meowing for food.
I think I'll go new.
I'm gonna go new. I think new's gonna be the answer there. Yeah. Let's see what the next one is. As I'm excited, we're getting to some more new ones which we're enjoying. Twitch. Oh.
Look, you can tell.
Wait,
I
hold on.
swear, you can
Hold
tell
on.
the Twitch and the Dr. Mundo old splash up must have been done by the same person.
I need to clarify a rule. Okay, if we say old splash outs for base, does that include the old skin splash outs as well?
No.
No?
Say no. I'll be the decider on that. It's based off what we see on screen.
Okay, because I will say Twitch's old skins had the cool splash outs in the game, but his new splash out is cooler than the old one.
I'm gonna say new here too. I think
I'll go
new's
new.
the. Yeah. Look, I think Skip
If this is gangster Twitch though, damn.
Well, I mean, yeah, it has to be new. Like the old one, it just looks like your high school project. You've submitted it. You're like, well, there's jobs done, but like, it's well done. A good upgrade overall.
Ooh, okay, last one is the Urgot. I like new. It's more menacing.
He is definitely menacing.
He's pretty.
But the
menacing.
the old one, you know, he looks like I saw that guy pull up on me on the street. Like I'm scared. If I see this guy, I think he's gonna cosplay or something.
I like low-key like the old one just because of how scuffed it looks in comparison. Like it hasn't aged well at all, but
I think
just-
when they
like
Better
when they
crab
do that,
vibes,
it's like-
you know?
that still
Yeah.
would jump scare you.
Yo, it would jump scare me just because I'd probably like get scared and then start laughing though, because it's sort of like, bruh, like 4 legs. What's with your hands? I'd be questioning half of it, and that's just me. But then like the new one, like that jumps out at me in an alley. I'm like, I'm running.
Never mind. I just saw the arm size difference between the new and the old splash. We gotta get new. We gotta respect the absolute grind he's gone through.
Bro's been on a bit of a
Holy-
grind, 100%.
For sure new. I had to back it. Good call. I agree with everyone here. Your choice was correct. Well, that is this or that. I had a lot of fun with that one. That was pretty good. I like going through the old skins because I didn't actually play with a lot of those. I played with that Misfortune one. I think that was the last one in the Caitlyn. And I think the rest of them I haven't really played with. So I was like, that was kind of nice to go down memory lane, Tally.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think I've ever used base Caitlyn because I'm pretty sure you got arcade. Oh, sorry. Base Misfortune, because I'm pretty sure you got Arcade Misfortune for free back in the day, and like that was the skin to use back then on Misfortune. So yeah, I haven't really been a base skin user for a very long time.
You've played for so long though. You've probably got all the skins. When you got well, that's fine. Me and Skimmy can be over here trying to get skins ourselves from ARAMs. That's cool.
Yeah, that's what we got skin boost for.
That's true. That's why we like ARAMs. Well, we are going to go to a short break as we get ready for the first series of tonight. It's going to be one hell of a one. Ion Global versus Mammoth. Can the Electrons take out the Mammoth? That could have been what caused the extinction. You'll have to wait and see. We'll be right back.
Maybe I had enough, don't tell me why. All the girls in the club, no trashing, just dancing. We just living it up, we go all night. I can sense the tension of the room and cut it. Running miles inside my head, I give you a two-step and now we running. Call me when you get a high. Don't wanna be alone tonight. Call me when you get a high. I'll give you one, two steps and we running. Turning up all the lights for you and I. It's warm and it feels alive when you smile. It's a sign. All we have is this tonight, and I don't want anybody else. Hold me and touch my body, yeah. And now we running. Call me when you get a high.
Here's the reason that Kevy's after becomes the Varus. Forced out of the stopwatch, it's carnage! Only triple happening here is for Phyto. Oh, it's do or die!
We are back. We're always back. It's the super week that we've been dreaming of and waiting for. Week 4. We're feeling good about it though, Skimmy, and we got some exciting games coming up.
That we certainly do. Yeah, as we mentioned before, I better to try and figure out who our top dog for the 4th spot is right now, and then later on a chance for Ground Zero to showcase that, hey, we won last night. And then we get to cruise on through into Wednesday, right? That would have been their biggest challenge so far, so a bit of an easier ask tonight, but may see an upset there. It's all up in the air.
Upsets have been happening to and far between, so we'll have to see what this first roster is going to look like as it is Ion up on your screen. Looking to show off and stand out. And this team, although sitting 4-4, they're looking pretty good, Tally.
Yeah, they definitely looked very good, especially in the most recent game we saw them play. I think that Coley on Lee Sin, we always talk about, he is Lee Sin. When we think about his main champion, it's going to be this pick, and he looks so powerful, he looks so dominant. I think that potentially leaving it up could be a mistake, even though you don't see, Lee Sin as a high priority champion right now in the meta. I just think, giving him this comfort, giving them the ability to play like these strong 2v2 mid jungles could be a mistake. And if you're a Mammoth, this is probably something you need to think about.
So do you think, Tally, just real quick, do you think there's other champions that Coley could be pulling out? Obviously, he likes these big playmakers. Anything else you could see?
Oh, absolutely. I think he's proficient on almost like every single pick in the meta right now. I just think that Lee Sin for this team functions a bit too well. And even though it's not one of the best picks in the meta, it just lets them shine a bit too much.
Well, we've talked about Coley. Let's chat about Goodo on the Mammoth roster as this team is trying to make some waves. They're trying to get a couple things done. And we think they've got the capability. Some of these players have been looking really good, but Skimmy just hasn't been the result they're after.
Yeah, a few weaknesses in some of the lanes have made it pretty rough, right? I'd say that their best performance so far have been their mid jungle. So if we're going to look to try and highlight the likes of Coley and Jovi, I think we should be in for a bit of a blockbuster matchup based on current form. Whether or not anything changes, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure how the rest of the map is going to look to try and play on that, to try and stabilize after last night. But I would definitely say mid jungle is going to be the highlight. We're seeing Pradef come into his zone and establish himself as a bit of a force in that mid lane. Obviously plays the Corki, a bit of an assassin on that champion in particular, but there is going to be a massive crossover between the champion pools in that jungle department, right? Goodo is also very, very good at Lee Sin, so if that's not going to be hotly contested, I would expect a ban.
So we're hoping for a Lee Sin off. It's 100% what I'm watching now. I want to see some awesome, beautiful resonating strikes, and I want to see something land, just get an awesome Chinese insect, boom, straight in. But we have a couple stats we want to talk you guys through. We have a couple little things. We want to look at the damage share per team. Now, Tally, there's some big numbers. There's a couple things I know Skimmy wants to chat about here, but we'll start with you, Tally.
I think the big standout to me, even though it's like a small difference, it's the jungle damage percent difference. I think this goes to show that Goodo leans more towards those AP junglers who do a lot more damage in these fights, and I think that is when they look the best, is when they play these mage junglers pairing with an AD mid laner, just allowing him to be sole AP. Whereas on the other hand, we see Ion favoring, the Lee Sins, the Viegos, the Zinzaos, like the Vi, and just letting Jovi be the main carry in these games, and I think that's their main target of attack for both teams.
Well, Skimmy, is there any sort of other lane you see here that you think sort of hits a bit of a different note?
Apart from the mid jungle that we've already talked at great lengths about, it would have to be the bot lane. I think Styx is going to look to try and gap this one pretty hard, I'd say. If it's not going to be the Ezreal, then I'd imagine it's anything with the ability to function, Leona, Nautilus, Ornn, whatever voice is told to, it's going to be a melee support. I cannot see him playing an Enchanter, at least for this split, having done a fresh role swap, so I'd imagine it's going to be a very bloody affair.
That's it. I think that the damage share was quite a bit more sort of spread out on the Mammoth roster. They're obviously trying to play for not just one carry, but everyone in there. But let's have a look at our mid lane, at the solo kills, because this is sort of like the lane we've been looking and sort of taunting towards. Jovi looking at 9 solo kills versus 3, Skimmy. And what is that really telling us?
It just shows that Jovi is incredibly aggressive in lane. He's always hunting for those cheeky 1v1s. We saw it last night into Chirp, right? We panned away from mid lane for 1 second in their very first game, as the Orianna just simply flashed on forward with the reset of the cooldown of the command attack, weaved in an auto attack and got it done, right? So I think every single time you see him, no matter what it is, could be a Corki, Tristana, or the control mages, he's always going to be in your face. He's tied 3rd in the entire league for the most solo kills, and I think that's pretty impressive for a brand new player to come out swinging as strongly as he has.
Yeah, really wanting to set his mark and make some plays and get things going. But funnily enough, we have the man himself. We have Jovi on the line, joining us on the desk. We got to know, Jovi, how are you feeling into tonight's games?
I think our team is stronger, and tonight we can 2-0 win.
The 2-0 win, the confidence we like to hear. Now, Jovi, as well, you're sitting 3rd on the lost roster for solo kills. Are we expecting a couple more out of you tonight?
But sometimes if play for solo kill, we have some risk. So I prefer help team to win. But if I have free time to make solo kill, I will do this.
All right, that's even more confidence. I like to hear that. Skimmy.
What a nice easy question for you, Jovi. What champions do you prefer? AD champions or AP?
Actually, I prefer AP champions, but this patch some AD champions plays easier. Like you have prior in early. Yeah.
Very true.
I like it. I like it. Tally, you want to hit us off?
And I want to know, because it's the end of Super Week, do we get to see the Yone tonight?
What?
Will
Yone.
Will you play Yone?
Yone.
Yone? Oh, okay. I'm looking for big Yone. Okay. Thank you.
Good
My
man.
bad,
You heard
my
it.
bad.
We're doing
Perfect.
Well, Jovi, the final question I had for you is, are there any champions you'd really like to play tonight?
That I think maybe I just want to play Talia. I see they give all ban.
All right. Okay. Look, we've got a couple options for you now. Well, mate, thank you so much for coming on. It's always great having you on the desk. You go out and have the best, most fun games possible.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So we're expecting a Yone, expecting a Talia. Sadly, hopefully the other team's not listening and they don't ban
I
it
was
out.
hoping he was just going to be like super based and be like, I really want to play Anivia. And you're just like, huh? Expand? He's like, I do not want to expand on that. He's like, oh, okay, fair enough. Just say your point and leave it.
He was feeling confident though. Like he literally said they're looking for the 2-0 tonight tally. Like I think we're sort of all expecting a little bit of that. But do you think they've got the skills to back it up?
Oh, absolutely. I think that we've just seen, I think our 2 teams that we keep talking about in the middle of the pack is Ion and Direwolves, and I think both these rosters keep, progressing really well and losing my voice. Just growing pretty well as we progress throughout the split, and I think it's nice to see that, we have more contenders for that 4th position. It's not just the one team we're always worried about.
Yeah.
That's such a big thing, right? And I think we've been really hoping for a split like this where we get a little bit more. But talking about a little bit more, we have Pradith on the line joining us all the way from his home, funnily enough. Mate, how are you feeling tonight?
Feeling pretty confident.
Crusty crowd.
Feeling pretty good. Ready.
Feeling good?
ready to, I don't know, probably just tour these guys.
Ooh, all right. What were you drinking just then?
Coffee.
Oh, nice. Wait, like, what type? Is this like fresh blend? Like, is this what type of coffee? Like, let's get specific here.
Know.
Oh, well,
Just
cheers to that.
Coles.
Just instant coffee.
Coffee
That's what
from
we do.
Coles.
Instant.
Rise and grind.
The dream. That's the best. Well, mate, you're feeling good. You're feeling excited. Are we expecting to see any off-meta picks from you tonight that we've been seeing so much of lately?
Maybe some Baker versus Zovi this time around. Maybe some more exciting matchups. Maybe some more losing trades from me, but that should make it exciting. Maybe some side laning as well, like from yesterday. I enjoyed that a lot.
Oh, okay. So some more Nasus,
Some
couple more
farming.
dogs in the mix. But Tally, I know you got something for him.
Now, I want to know, because you've played multiple roles, in your opinion, which is the worst one to play in solo queue?
Mid. It's like just by far mid. Like I just feel like I feel like subhuman when like the jungler is just walking from like bot river to top river, and then I'm just trading, and then he just kills me, and it's just like I don't think he was trying to kill me there, but now like my lane's over. That guy just got a free, enemy mid just got a free like 600 gold, and like my game's just over now. And it's just like he wasn't even trying to kill me. He's just there. I feel like mid is just like such a bad role. And honestly, like I have a new hatred for like every other role in the game now that I play mid. So I might have to go back to ADC soon.
People don't get it. It's like you have to worry about ganks from both sides of your lane. If anyone gets gapped, they all come mid to kill you. It's pain.
Yeah. I realized you actually have played the same 3 roles I have played. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
We suffered the same.
Yeah.
Skimmy?
Well, I suppose my question to you then, Pradip, is being an X80 carry, well, most recently in the pro scene, like how many of those champions can you realistically look to, bring into the mid lane? We're starting to see the likes of like Ezreal, for example, over in the LCS being played in the mid lane. I know you've played that in the past, also flexing as an AP Ezreal as well. So like, what other champions come to mind? Tristana, we got Corki, the list really does go on. We saw Varus last night from Fido. So is that something that you're actively preparing to, bring out as a flex?
I actually think mid laners can basically play any AD carries. Not all of them, like Vayne and stuff. You might not want to pick because like you have to help your team out a lot more. But you can basically play anything. The problem with mid is like you're probably picking in the top 3 in like 80% of games. So like you're always like slamming the Trist, the Corki, the Talia, the Zia, like all this meta stuff. Like you're picking it early, so it's really hard to like drop for those picks unless like your team's known for it. Like as much as I want to be doing that stuff, it's a rare occasion.
So you've just got to tell your team, look, I've got the most experience on this roster. I will be getting red side 5th pick, counter pick, and you'll just be locking in that Kindred all day, every day. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Kindred.
Yeah, beauty. Awesome, mate.
Well, thank you so much, Predator, for coming on, mate. I can't wait to see you playing tonight. I'm looking forward to your 2-0. I'm going to hold you to it, and you go good, get some good luck out there.
All right, thank you, boys.
2-0s from both. They're both feeling so confident.
You need to have that confidence. It's not blind delusion. Like you can always feel good about how your practice is going, and even if you're losing in scrims, you can understand, oh, this is why we've been losing, and you're still improving in the end of the day. So you can feel confidence from that.
Well, we've got some confidence that we're going to see these sides popping up down below us just to see where these teams are going to be sitting, both looking blue, and they're both feeling pretty confident about those first picks, Skimmy.
But they certainly are, and I'm actually very curious to see what the first pick priority will be. Obviously, we saw in our last split, our last games last night, it was the case of locking in Leona first pick, right? It was the hotly contested option. The default response then on the red side was, okay, we'll just lock in the center on. So I'm curious to see if that's going to be the approach coming into tonight. We have seen, not the center on from Ion, but they have gone for the center Maokai as a variation. Obviously, we know Hexflash is quite keen to flex the different options out there, whereas the other teams are being a little bit more rigid, I would say, with like the center on as a combo. So I'm actually quite curious to see how much priority is going to be put towards getting them, the best matchup in bot. If it's going to be a battle of like 2 hyperscaling champions, and if the emphasis will be then put elsewhere for like your mid and jungle, or if Top is going to get any luxury to be like, I want to pick a Camille here, or I need to get the Renekton to try and outplay. I'm very curious as to how these teams have actually both identified what their winning formula will be.
Well, both want the wins, both want the 2-0. Now, the difference is Twitch chat going to get the 2-0 as they put in their channel points just up there, going to get those points in so you can support not only your favorite team, but also to just stack dairy. Because we're farming every day. If you're playing League, you're farming. That's literally what it is called. So you got to put it in, get those points so you're ready to go for the finals. I know I'm going to be doing it today because I'm feeling confident with my picks because we can just jump straight into predictions because I know exactly who's going to win this. I called it yesterday. I can call it today. Let's just get it up. It is looking like the 2-0 from all of us for Ion. It just feels right, Tally.
I mean, I don't know why you're asking me. I'm currently in last place when it comes to predictions, so obviously I just don't know what I'm talking about. But I think it's pretty hard to go against Ion today. I think they are I would say they're a very good team put together. Overall, I think their teamwork is starting to come together, even though we are seeing like little bits of weaknesses in the early game. That's only really against the top teams, and I think it's nice that they can still bounce back. They always have a part of the map that looks strong. So I feel like against a team like Mammoth, where they haven't really shown themselves to be really dominant laners, is where Ion gets to shine.
Yeah.
Well, Skimmy,
I think it's going to be a bit of a bot diff as well as a top diff. I think that's where they hold the most experience. I think mid jungle is going to be very volatile and probably the most even footing given the amount of experience between the two of them and based on current form. So I think that one can definitely go either way. But I would certainly give the nod towards Doraemon to look to try and take over his lane and then influence that elsewhere a bit. The split pushing of a Camille or just the lane dominance of a Rumble. And then, yeah, as I already mentioned, I think Styx and Hex Flash are just going to outclass that of Gunkrab and Voice. So that's why I've gone for the 2-0.
Coley on the Lee Sin, Styx on the Ezreal. It's all I want to see from tonight. If we get that, you know what? Done deal. I'll wash my hands of it. And in fact, I'm going to wash my hands of this right now. I'm going to hand it over to you guys because game's ready to go. Let's just take it away. I'll see you soon.
Beautiful. Well, as we mentioned, some of those picks that could be played in the bot lane, well, they believe as well that they are just too strong for this occasion. Iron right off the gate say, no center for you to try and have fun with. Instant response though from Mammoth is, well, no Israel.
Yeah, and curious to see, Skimmy, because we keep seeing, the blue side priority pick coming out of like pretty much every team in the LCO. But I don't know if you've been following Taz on Twitter. He's done like a really good job documenting like the stats from the LCO. A lot of the win rates are going towards red side right now. We see like the red side is dominating in the win rate, the first dragons, the first barons, and the first towers. So I think it's very interesting to see that like we're still seeing this really high blue priority when maybe there are too many OP picks on the patch and like trading one OP for multiple just isn't worth it.
Certainly a good consideration there, as triple AD carries, or I suppose triple flex if you want to call it that, are denied by the side of Mammoth, and then Iron open up their account and say, well, Ashe may just be the next best pick. We certainly saw that be the case for Styx in his last game, right? Paired that with a Leona. I don't think he ever had to, flash defensively. He was always on the front, but always hunting targets down.
Yeah, definitely. I think Ashe is an extremely strong champ, especially, it's that pseudo flex. In this meta, though, I think it's always going to go towards AD carry position. I feel like this is way too much engage on the map that you have to deal with as an Ashe, the immobile champ, doesn't want to be, put in that position. To be fair, though, when we look at Mammoth, I think this team hasn't been drafting too terribly. I think the comps they're putting together are decent. The only issue with them is they have been falling down in the laning phase. But when we look across at the Ion side, I don't think their bot lane has been too proactive in the 2v2 in bot lane. And I think that's when Gunkrab and Voice, if they can get through lane and make it to mid game, I think Mammoth has the, they have a lot of veteran players on their side that they should be able to function in the mid game and have a much better showing.
Certainly a very valid point, right? If the Ashe and Leona don't get too much established in the early game, then perhaps you are leaving it up to fate as to what happens in that mid game. But as I mentioned, and as I'm, I suppose, quite glad to see, it will be Doraemon showcasing that the Rumble's coming out to play. No need to do any crazy split pushing. I just need to dominate the laning phase and make sure this Renekton gets basically hard stuck in the early game.
Yeah, definitely. And I like Mammoth's first three. They've picked Talia and they've drafted around it. They have, multiple CC options for this Talia, followed up with the old shove one-shot combo, but I also really like Iron's combo. I think that, just throwing an Ashe Arrow or a Solar Flare onto a Squishy, followed up with an Equalizer, equals death most times. And Doraemon had a quiet performance last time. He played the, double tank matchups. He didn't really be like, I have to carry this game. I'm just going to, be a frontline for my team and let you guys take over the game. But this time, locking in the Rumble, which means he has all the agency in this matchup to completely take over the game.
He certainly does. Vi as well as Nedley denied by Ion, so double jungle bans coming in from their side. Certainly know that Goodo is pretty proficient on that one as they lock in the Nautilus. But essentially 5 mid lane champions, if you consider them all to fit that role, have been denied away from Jovi. Certainly for this split at least, it would leave really the only Azir and Ahri up and available unless he decides to whip out something new. Perhaps that Yone, as we said, we really wanted to try and see. But now they say, well, you got a fairly immobile comp. If we catch the Varus, they will simply perish, and the Jarvan will get it done.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect angle to pick Yone. Even though there's a lot of CC on Mammoth's side, you have the solid EP for Rumble. You have multiple layers of engage. You don't have to be that person who goes in first. So you can always just skirt around the team fights and go in when you want to. If Jovi thinks that, oh, my champion pool's been pinched too much, this is a completely, fine angle for him to pick Yone. Does decide to go for the Ahri. Also, really good matchup. I do like the LeBlanc here, actually. I think that there's just a lot of threats coming out of Ion Skimmy, so you can't really play to mark this LeBlanc. The only champion who can really do that, like, in a good way is Nautilus, but Nautilus wants to be on the front line, making sure that he's engaging, because if they get engaged on, I don't know if this Mammoth side's going to be able to survive the amount of damage coming out of Ion.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty rough, isn't it? It's going to be pretty hard to lock down any of these champions. Very mobile. So much pick potential is really what I'm getting from the side of Iron, right? The arrow, the solar flare, the ability just to lock you in place with the Cataclysm. Laid out quite nicely with the Equalizer. And if by some miracle you've dodged all that, then, the chains go across the wall. Much like we saw Harry do, right? In that game he played last week, where he just got incredibly fed. And across the wall, one target was in mind, kill Katsuri, and the job was complete. The last pick, though, for Mammoth will be Poppy, which I think is a nice little save to try and round it out to react, at least to what Iron have put together. But do you think their comp as a whole functions well enough to try and beat what Iron have put together?
Absolutely. I think that if this is a lethality Varus, he's going to be playing a very long distance away from the enemy engagement. He shouldn't be putting himself in, too much of a bad position. Talia is a very underrated tanky mage because, you get the Seraph, you can get the Zhonyas. It's quite hard to, waste so much CC onto Talia. If she does, absorb all that and then flash out of the team fight, I think in these team fights with a Poppy ult, they could, split up the members of Ion. Mammoth will be pretty happy how this looks, but, on the other side, we look at Ion's comp. So many tools, so many lanes to play around. On paper, they could potentially have 3 winning lanes. So I think with this priority, Coley could take over the early game.
Well, the question you mentioned before, right, was whether or not the bot lane of Ion could be aggressive enough to try and push the likes of Guncrab and Voice behind further and further. But if it does reach that mid game and there is a fair bit of stability on either end, then I think we do really leave this one up for chance. I suppose the same could then be afforded to the top lane too, right, based on how Renekton can play to try and keep this Rumble in check. It will be the double AP threat, right? It's not going to be that isolated one, as it will be for Praetor here on the Talia. And will that be their undoing? Will itemization be too easy to acquire? Or will it be their downfall? Let's load into the Rift then for our very first game here for day 3 of our initial Super Week for this split. And get to see what these two teams have in store for us as the race to playoffs well and truly roars on.
Yeah, and as you mentioned it, Skimmy, the double AP threat out of Ion, both these champions do not want to build Void Staff early. They always want to get those big, large rod items. You want to be getting as much AP as possible. So it's if, either of these members fall behind, or we see the Renekton or the Poppy get ahead where they can build so much magic resist, and Styx, just can't output that physical damage that he needs to because he just doesn't have the items yet. These team fights could look very hard for them.
Certainly could be some pretty insane team fighting. Either way, though, obviously we talk about the CC lockdown at the bot lane of Ion will have. Certainly could be said the same then for Mammoth, right? The Chain of Corruption's laid out with the depth charge, and suddenly you're also locked in place for far too long. I think the big one, though, is going to be the ability to utilize macro quite well. Obviously, Talia fantastic, especially once level 6 is around the corner. Just a dash between lanes to help out, but I think they're going to have to really be on point with that, right? Because this Jarvan and LeBlanc are going to want to be hyperactive on the map as well.
Oh, we're going to see a little chicken flip in the early game. Usually this is what Poppy does. You play for that late invade while Jarvan solos away the buff because he doesn't want to start in the camp. But who will get the smite?
Comes the gamble, and in the end, looks like Goodo's claimed it all for himself. So very happy Poppy is here at the start of this one. Nobody going to peel away from the lanes just yet, and it would make sense that they wouldn't. Because we're so early on to this one, they say you can just simply fight it out and see who comes ahead. Goodo's still going to stay around in the area. The flag is going to reveal. And the spamming of the emotes continues as Goodo says, okay, I'll give you enough.
Yeah, the one advantage for Coley, even though he did lose his initial camp, he does have the smite advantage, which means that if they do fight over another camp, he will always win that. So Goodo recognizes that, and he's going to go back to his own jungle. This won't really affect the early game too much. It just means Collie has been spotted and he's, you know, his early game pressure's down a bit, but he's still going to be able to clear up. Doesn't get level 4 in the first clear, unfortunately, unless he does decide to invade and take away one of Gudo's camps.
Got to check in with top lane as well, also worth mentioning. The case is that where you do lock in the Rumble, you will go for that Ignite as opposed for the Teleport. You are playing for some aggression pre-level 6 and at least, you know, 10 minutes into the game, right, once that Teleport does actually find a little bit, you know, extra impact. So we'll have to see how Doraemon looks to weave this one out. There is Coley now with level 2, and he says, you know what, I feel strong enough to actually do a bit of invading myself. You've done it to me. How about I pay you back that favor? Going to rock up a little bit too late, though, to try and contest this Gromp. Lose vision for a second. The flag and drag goes absolutely nowhere, and I think he's just simply dead. Across the wall he goes with the flash. They'll flash to match, and they'll simply take him down for first blood. Hex Flash, though, wastes no time in retaliation. Across the wall he goes. Styx finds one, hunting a second, and he's weaving in to get that double kill now. They need to afford him a little bit of space. Peel to make sure that Voice doesn't get it, and now that's an Ashe with double buff.
Yeah, that's the power of this Ashe Leona in early game. There's so much damage. Gunkrab just missteps a little bit and loses his entire health bar. You know, unfortunate the Voice goes to flash to kill Coley, completely misses his combo, so we just don't find it. As you'll see in the replay, how Gunkrab was, you know, just deleted off the game because this looks so good for Mammoth. Coley completely messes up this invade, misses his combo, but Gunkrab just out of position here, lets the PTA stack up on him and just gets one shot, taking out the game completely. And I think from this point, they have no threat on the Styx. He just completely takes over these early skirmishes.
Yeah, very awkward, isn't it, the positioning there, but then the ability to utilize that flash to cover ground, and especially here from Hex Flash to finally hit the Zenith Blade once it came off cooldown just to peel and protect, and the best possible start, and completely undermines the point about us having a stable bot lane early game because 4 minutes in, double buff, 2 kills. But the only difference would be that Gunkrab still has his flash up and available.
Yeah, so Coley can't EQ out in the 1v1, but Praelith is unable to rotate to really collapse him because Joby's always going to win that 1v1. If he does land the chain and the distortion, the damage, it's very hard for Talia to land her combo onto LeBlanc. It's just very easy as a mobile champion to dodge a lot of the predictable damage that comes out of Talia. So, you know, really nice by Coley that he does, you know, find a camp to steal away and get back into the early game.
Good though, right on a repeat, saying your chicken should be back up. I've timed it. I'm here to pick them up, and there's not a person in the world here to really stop him. Nobody from the side of Iron is interested at this stage, so much so that Voice and Gunkrab are actually able to leave their lane, rotate up, see what they can find in the mid lane, and they'll find a little bit of chip damage on towards Jovi, but certainly not enough to force him to burn a flash.
Does have the Hex Flash. He's looking for the gank on mid.
Still hunting for a little bit of extra action though. They've already popped the clone of that LeBlanc. It's going to stuck around for a little bit longer than we would have probably imagined, as Coley debating whether or not I should go for the flag and drag, but there's the minefield, and that certainly does mean that if you do go across that, bit of a death wish.
And honestly, Skimmy, we don't really get to see it, but I think the big winner of this early game is Doraemon. Like, he's left into his isolated 1v1, which means he's going to keep accruing this like lead he can grow out in the 1v1. Having the Ignite means that he has so much combat threat, which Reneko just can't trade aggressively. He really needs to be able to find a gank from Gudo that can snowball him to, you know, get to his first item where he can really start fighting with the Dominus.
Yeah, you'd imagine that Doraemon was looking for the all-in there, getting that Rage Bar stacked up, or the Heat Bar rather, as topped up and ready to go as it could be. Drop the full combo. In the end, it wasn't enough to get kill pressure. Clears out the wave, but still holds it in the middle, as he will deny the fruit, ping the grubs, and really call the attention of the rest of his team to secure that one for them.
Yeah, we already see Hex Flash moving up to the grubs, so this will definitely go over to the Ion side. We see all of Mammoth members leaning towards bot side right now. If this is going to be a dragon, are they going to try stack a wave and dive on Styx? We already see Hex Flash, you know, I don't need to be able to grubs anymore because we've recognized no one's here, so he's returning straight back to bot to make sure his AD carry is protected on the stacked wave.
Good though, being hyperactive as a living ward, always in the enemy jungle, utilizing that Hex Flash to jump into Hex Flash, funnily enough. Locks him up against the wall, Styx rotates across and says, well, that can't go unchecked. The Ignite is burnt as Hex Flash fought the head kill pressure. Hawkeye Vision there to grant the ability for the volley to connect, but it does get soaked up by Voice, and Voice might just get slowed down infinitely, if not for the fact that they do have the numbers advantage, and they will have to peel away.
Yeah, and Gunkrab is doing a pretty good job in the CS department, so I assume that the wave state from that earlier skirmish in the jungle was very favorable for them. We see the flash forward from Chovy. Fortunately wasn't able to find it, but have to see if they want to commit anyway.
They certainly will. They've found... Oh, so close for a second there, feeling like they may not have found it. He guaranteed that that chain was going to land. and really served it to Coley on a silver platter.
Yeah, so we go back into the replay, and they both, Reneko decided to stick around, wasn't able to collapse his wave in time for the harass. And it's just, this is what happens when we both don't have ults. We get to see the ignite pressure coming out of Doraemon, and he finds an easy solo kill for himself.
And a clutch shield at the tail end of that one to run away from that turret that was ready to take him down in a trade, but it's not to be found. So no summoners now exist in this top lane. You mentioned it already, you'd like to see a little bit of help afforded to the Renekton to allow them to actually be a fighting force to remain relevant once this mid to late comes around. But Kudo certainly has his work cut out for him on the bottom half of the map.
Yeah, level 6 already on Coley, so he is ready to fight. I don't know if Mammoth want to take this one, but Coley cannot get out.
He can't, he's completely stun locked. So much CC between that core 3 squad, and yeah, doesn't matter if you got the level 6 advantage, you're unable to utilize it.
I think that just could have been a communication problem there, Skimmy, because we see him going through the invade while no one on his team is on the map or has any control of their lanes. Jovi's still coming off the reset from that earlier gank, so pretty easy kill for them to pick up. But Doraemon does have the ult, and I'm not sure if Reneko wins this.
Doraemon pops it, but it's popped it fairly defensively, so he has to actually run away, and Reneko maybe waiting for that slice and dice. Is up and available? I don't think it was, but that's a big win for him to come out on that occasion. The Dragon down to 500 HP, secured there by Gudo. Gudo is going to fall as a result of this one. Picked up nicely there by Coley on his return to Grace. Jumps in with a one-man Cataclysm, locks and plays Voice. He hits the depth charge, but only ends up giving away a double himself.
Yeah, and we just see Mammoth just communicating, just completely abandoned him, get out of there as fast as possible. Even though that looks favorable for Mammoth, we see so many members from Ion flashing forward onto Gudo, blows him up before he can do anything. Still level 5. I think that if Gudo did have access to the ult there could have been different fights, and it's just these little experience advantages that are making a difference in these skirmishes.
They certainly are. Not much between the farm of the two junglers, but that little difference certainly was a major factor there. Keeper's Verdict certainly could have been the difference on that occasion. Jovi being a real menace here, even so much to dive behind the tower to cancel that recall and really make sure that this wave state is favorable because it's pushing towards him.
Yeah, and it takes stock of the game. It's definitely Ion favored right now. They have control of pretty much all the lanes, but we'll get back to that after we review the replay. I think it's really nice to note how Hexflash just recognizes Gudo is out of position in the pit here and just executes him straight away with, the burst from Leona Ashe. Really nice shove coming out of Predator, which means that they get to take down Jovi, and Coley has to commit his flash because, flags drags over the wall but gets hit by the pebbles, which means he is stunned, so he has to commit his ult and flash to find any follow-up there. So this might mean, going forward, because there are summoners down on the Ion side, Mammoth might feel a bit more confident to take some skirmishes.
I'm curious, though, whether or not they will decide to do that, because Guncrab did have to burn that flash to dodge out in the Cataclysm, otherwise it would have been a triple kill, most likely there, as we are now hunting a potential another fight.
Flash.
It does have cleanse. Decided just to simply sidestep it. The stun comes out. There is the cleanse in the very end. Winds up one of those empowered piercing arrows, but it's certainly not enough at this stage to lock down this Ashe. He is a Gatling gun, sitting at 3-0-4 with the assistance of their jungler again. This bot lane is heavily Ion favored now.
You only have one cleanse, Kimmy, but there is more than one ability to cleanse there. We see, Hexflash throws the Solar Flare down, and then Six waits. He waits and waits, and then he finally throws out the, Enchanted Crystal Arrow, lands the stun. Even though there is the tenacity coming out of the cleanse, there's still enough CC for him to follow up and get all the damage he needs to get the easy kill.
See then what it means for Mammoth as to how they want to try and answer back into this one, because it's only 11 minutes into the game. They're already behind at 3,000 gold. Kraken Slayer now picked up as Styx works his way towards that next level of power, and the rest of Iron going to entertain the idea of saying, well, we can't just make this a simple 3-for-3 trade. The heroic charge is fantastic. The flag and drag is interrupted, and simply again, Coley is a sitting duck. He had the Cataclysm, but the CC is unbearable, and he's unable to move.
Yeah, this is the strength of the Norless Poppy. Get onto someone, and if they have a dash as their only escape, you are not getting out of there. There's just so much CC from both members. Voice doesn't even commit the depth charge onto him, so they still has that in his back pocket if they want to link up and try and find some more kills on the map.
So 3-for-3 in the grubs in the end, as the very first dragon did go the way of Mammoth. So objective control certainly showing the spoils as we wonder where Iron will look to play next. Styx has everything up and available, and I wouldn't be surprised if they just tell Coley, clear your top side, gank again. Let's really push ahead. But in that same vein, where does Gudo want to look now? He does have the ultimate, level 7 online, has the Hex Slash up and available. but continues to protect this part of the map.
I think it's very important for Gudo to be reactive right now in this game state. He can't really be the aggressor because there's just not much priority on the map. He needs to be counter-ganking and making sure that he's protecting on these dives. I think if he does, try to be proactive, we're going to see Jovi rotate first from mid, or if he does, attack mid lane, we're going to see Hex Flash and Styx being the first to rotate from bot. So he's trying on bot, Skimmy, but I think he's dead.
Yeah, he tried to be clever, a little bit cheeky across that wall. The Hex Flash potentially dodging out on that vision line. Unfortunately for him, he's Hex Flash straight into that other man himself. The CC between the Leona and the Ashe, as you saw evidence there, far too much without any tenacity. Just a sitting duck in the end.
Yeah, and I think we keep seeing this from Mammoth. We saw Gunkrab earlier a bit, disconnected from voice, which means a gap in vision. He falls over. We see Gudo a bit far ahead of his team, and now we see Preyler getting dove on mid. Does he find the flick? He does.
He does find the flick. Is it enough damage? What's enough to warrant the flash from Cole Lee? Because that turret was starting to ramp up with the amount of CC he was under. And Preyler's doing a good enough job. I mean, he really has been the recipient of multiple ganks, and hence why you can understand that Jovi is ahead in the CS. But to hold his own, he's still going to be a massive force, given that he is the sole AP.
Yeah, he has a lot ahead of him, but he's got through the hardest part of the lane pretty much. He has the Merc treads. He's able to sit back and just farm. Very good buy by him, honestly, and it saved his life there. The chain didn't last as long as it needed to, so Coley couldn't find the follow-up CC they needed to. But to my earlier point, Skimmy, we keep seeing Mammoth just being a bit disjointed by a couple seconds, and Iron is doing a really good job at punishing this. They see these little gaps in visual, this lapse in the team continuity, and they just keep attacking, and they're finding these really easy kills.
They certainly are. So much so it's actually forced Mammoth to make a lane flip occur just based on how far behind Gunkrab and Voice have been. So they play towards topside. They want to make sure that Doraemon's power spike doesn't come any quicker than it already has on this occasion. So completely zoned away. Multiple members in the area to deny it. And the first turret actually going to be found with only one plate now remaining in bot.
Yeah, this is a very nice swap from Mammoth. They're getting a lot out of this. When you thought they were in a very dire position, they get first turret, they're going to pick up the second grabs is not Rift Herald. I think this might be Rift Herald. But let's see if Renekton is able to survive here without his flash.
Unfortunately for him, he's flashed in a straight line, so the Ashe arrow was always going to connect. Then they just basically drop 3 ultimates on his head and says, no, this Renekton is going to die. And yep, the lane flip tax. Good for a second, bad thereafter.
Yeah, and we see Mammoth picking up the Rift Herald, but this objective is very hard to use when you have no control of the map, because you need to group up and charge it into a tower, and when the enemy team responds in tandem, it's so hard to deal with the 5v5, because right now there is so much gold on the Ion side, and if they want to match and take these fights against Mammoth when they want to group up and attack, I think we're going to see a very, very scary turnout for Mammoth.
I certainly agree with, as we can see from our lovely observers. They're going to toggle to show that close to 7,000 gold is where Styx is at right now, sitting on the Phage as well as the Sheen. So really well on time to make sure that Trinity Force comes before this next objective fight. Gunkrab's got to be careful though. He does just pick up the Edge of Night. A little bit more defensive on this occasion to dodge out all this CC, because there has been an abundance of it. And the ability to hold your own in mid lane certainly becomes the new main focus.
Yeah, and Gunkrab has a lot of items for how his game has been going. He is definitely not weak. He is, I would say in line with Styx in terms of damage, but he just doesn't have the same output because of how his champion works. It's all about, those Chains of Corruption into the pro, playing from long range, whereas, Styx is going to be in your face with just a flurry of auto attacks into the back of the Mammoth members.
Yeah, certainly will do. You need to really make sure those blight stacks are as topped up as much as they can be for that insane amount of bursts, but certainly easier said than done when you are on the back foot. Still, it is that 3k lead there to favor the side of Ion, and with nothing to play for at least the next 3 minutes, side laning and at least the ability to hold down mid becomes the biggest focus of them all. Double Stunted Sky from the junglers. A little bit of extra dueling power for them. Does bring into question though, where does Gudo want to drop the Heralds?
Yeah, and this is also one of the strengths of Rumble's Skimmy. When we are in lane states like this, Mammoth can not really find a way to attack the map, because they can't really match the Talia LeBlanc on the side because of how hard LeBlanc's going to win that, but they can't trade onto the other side of the map against the Rumble, but we see lots of ults being thrown out mid.
Double ults from the Eddie carries to try and get the fight started in the end. Nice little steadfast presence to interrupt the flag and draft from Cole Lee, so as a result, it's actually Gudo that picks up the kill and gets that all-important shutdown onto Styx. No summoners, no chance to survive. Doraemon from the base rocks up with Leandries and is spitting hot fire on the entire team, but it doesn't matter. Simply with a gold lead they lose. and Mammoth reigns supreme.
And so I was talking about, Skimmy. Mammoth definitely has the prowess to, you know, play well as a team. They just need to get through the laning phase and not be far out down too much gold. And we get to see what happens when they group up. They finally weren't disconnected. They were first to the fight. And look what happens. They found the kill instantly onto Styx. And from that point, their main, you know, DPS is down. And we see this Hex Drinker Renekton absorbing so much of this AP damage coming from the soil laners out of Ion.
And they certainly did, soaked up the world and more, and now back to split pushing duties. But it all just starts with a double ultimate and then a case of double cleansing to see, okay, who can pounce on me thereafter?
Yeah, and really, really nice CC combo into a TP from Predators, which means their main member goes down. Unfortunately, you know, the shutdown hasn't gone to the correct person, but we get to see all this damage coming out of the Iron side, but it's not sticking, you know? The front line from Mammoth is so strong and will only continue to get stronger, especially if Styx is the first to die in these team fights.
Yeah, that Iron frontline died so quickly, so no matter how strong Doraemon was, he just didn't have the space afforded to him to cycle through those abilities and really continue to be that lane bully. That certainly has evened up the scoreboard here, so much so now that entire 3k lead that Iron have possessed for the first 18, it's no longer there, it's gone.
Yeah, and this is not down to a you know, a champion edge anymore, Skimmy. This is going to come down to gameplay, and I think that is when we get to see. I would say Ion will be more comfortable, you know, continuing to play the game from an even state just because they're just a lot more familiar with the position. But we're not counting Mammoth down at all. I think their comp is very, very good at dealing with misplays from Ion. If we see Coley out of position, he will die regardless of what he has up. If we see, you know, these immobile champs like the Ashe, like the Rumble caught out of position, they will die. And I want to see how Predator wants to use this Weaver's Wall going forward.
That's a good point. You saw just how much frustration it's been for Coley, especially when the likes of Poppy and Nautilus are in the area, and certainly on that last occasion, it wasn't even about stunning you up against the wall with a heroic charge. It simply was, you can't flag and drag because the steadfast presence says no, and our 5th pick on the red side is proving to be a bit of a factor. 2 towers falling in quick succession for either side as the map becomes that much more open to freely roam around as we enter into a pause, as it looks like Gudo may have just DC'd.
There we see that, you know, the map state is completely split. We see Mammoth playing towards the bot side. We see Ion playing towards the top side. Dragon is up. Ion has the choice here. If they do want to contest, they have to walk into the vision control of Mammoth, which is pretty scary in itself. But on the other hand, they can decide to give this Dragon in to get the inner tower top lane onto Jovi and make sure that he gets to his item spice as fast as possible, because I think it's really important for this LeBlanc to always stay ahead of the curve and, you know, not be buying items the same time we're seeing the magic resist come out of the front line of Mammoth.
Well, speaking of that, Jovi certainly is on point with the timers. 197 CS for 19 minutes into the game, so working his way towards the coveted 10 CS per minute, so going to be putting in a lot of work, but as you said, a Blighted Jewel coming out second right after that of the Ludens does delay that, you know, overwhelming one-shot that we've come to learn and love, but at the same time despise too, because so frustrating to really have no counterplay towards that one. But I think the biggest hero of them all was the fact that whilst Doraemon was left on an island to fight out 1v1 and have no jungle intervention, it's actually Reneko that slowly found a little bit of extra momentum in this one. He's up by now 30 CS, and with the Stride Breaker has a lot of lockdown.
Yeah, absolutely. He did a really good job in the 1v1 to, you know, we would think that, oh, in the 1v1 Rumble's going to finally get, you know, to his Sork shoes and really start bullying the 1v1, but Reneko does a good job on that all-in we saw earlier to, you know, force Doraemon to base. And as we see, like, based on these deploys, you know, Reneko is the one getting all the skull, whereas Doraemon, who does not have access to the TP, is forced to group up and make sure that he is with his team in case a team fight does break out. But we get to see Reneko in the side lane getting alone time with this inner tower. Thanks to the grubs, he's going to be able to push this down by himself, get the dragon as well for Mammoth's side, and I think that this is going to be a very good game state for Mammoth going forward.
Yeah, you can see both teams very stubbornly pushing those lanes. So one turret in the bot lane certainly becomes 2 for both sides. Out comes the Ashe ult into the Solar Flare. Trinity falls there for Styx as well. So now he does insane amounts of DPS if he didn't do so already. And would you believe it, actually, Hex Flash having more kills than the AD carry. It's like we're watching Aladoric.
Very, very greedy melee supports. You know, it's not a bad thing, though, Skimmy. When your, you know, frontline gets fed, it means you can do more damage because they live longer. So, you know, it's a win-win overall. Shouldn't be too, you know, disappointed about it. But Reneko picks up the tower, does his job. And Ion, they keep sending all their members to the same parts of the map, and I think that, you know, sharing so much experience in gold could be the downfall of them. But we see the Baron being pulled. Well, they don't have the Equalizer or the Ashe Arrow or the Leona ult, Skimmy. I'm not sure how this one's going to turn out.
Yeah, this is really a dance with the devil. Very, very risky. They're Certainly inviting Mammoth to once again turn the tides of that gold difference. They look onto one key target. The keeper's verdict goes out, knocking in place Joby. He double distorts away to safety, but will he find any safety? Because there is no tower in the mid lane. He runs behind that fragile tier 2. And just how annoying is LeBlanc to chase from the bush all the way back to the safety of the base. The LeBlanc bait is complete. Ion switch off the Baron, come to his aid, and turn it around to find 2.
Yeah, Ion decides not to chase there and kill prey that they feel is a bit too risky, ignoring Gun Crab's damage right now. But they have the TP come out of Joby. Really nice for him to, live that long. I think it's just, it's very hard to chase LeBlanc, Skimmy. You gotta respect the fact that, oh, she's already low, she's out of the fight, she can't impact anymore. Let's focus on the rest of the team fight. I do want to see if Ion want to start this objective up again. We do have the Solar Flare for Hex Flash ready if they want to turn, and there is no vision for the Mammoth side right now.
Let's see if Mammoth are able to ascertain any kind of control of this one. Very simple for them to group up as 4. And as we can see, Iron are going for the full reset out of mine. So still a bit of respect has to be shown by the Mammoth squad. But they're going to be happy that the Baron has been stopped. They're slowly working their way towards that soul point. Won't be able to get a very quick one given the fact that Iron did deny. But it will be another Cloud Soul to play for. And I think another game in which a lot of these champions are going to be very happy to utilize that. All that uptime, you talk about the double supports with the Warmogs, not to mention that Force of Nature, extra movement speed on top of that already. I think Lockdown really is going to be the name of the game.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when we look at this game state right now, Skimmy, this is what Mammoth want. They want Reneko to be in the side lane. He has the TP. Doraemon, once again, with the Ignite, has to group up. So he's going to be able to keep, building that CS lead, build that experience lead. And I don't really think Ion has the right engage tools right now, especially if these Ash Arrows don't connect onto the right members.
Yeah, very away is good. So that Ash ult really never that much of a threat. Quite nice though to see that Mammoth are continuing to fight on back into this one, despite how poorly the initial few moments went against them. They've identified that their comp does still do a lot of work, and they are able to now actually finally regain control of that mid lane. And I think maybe a part of this is, as you mentioned already, right, the ability to have the double summoners, or double TP rather, is making it a little bit difficult for Doraemon to continue to be so strong.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Mammoth are going to play really aggressive right now. They see Doraemon answering the bot wave, so if they engage on mid or Ion disrespect, there won't be any response coming out of him. But, see, when we look at the other side of the map, in the top lane, the same thing is happening to Predator. He cannot match LeBlanc in the 1v1. He feels a bit too under pressure, especially with no flash. Bit susceptible to falling over, especially if Coley does hover up there. So he's always answering the waves only when it's as safe as possible. He really needs his team to, walk off mid-wave, lean to him, and make sure that if Joby is going forward, he will fall down.
Double Warmogs then, picked up by Goodo. So you're going to be incredibly happy seeing 3 in the game. We just need Coley now to pick up 1, and we've completed Exodia, where they can just AFK at this Baron all day long, saying, look, we can take these trades. I'll simply regen it all up in 10 seconds later. Back to the mid lane we go again then, as teams really are just AFK in the front of, well, drag it up in a minute. Baron is always there on the doorstep. And we're just really waiting for those major CC cooldowns to showcase, okay, who decides to step up to regain control after going back to base to get all those wall charges again and fight for literally every square inch of the rift.
Yeah, this is very nice by Ion. All these comps, Skimmy, are about who walks into who, especially abusing that fog of war, because there's so many angles. We can see the Jarvan engage from a fog of war. We see LeBlanc come over the wall. We get to see the Ash Arrow from a blind spot. That's when we get to see a lot of damage come down. But same for Mammoth. If Ion walks into them or engages without finding the right members, it's going to be very hard.
Very difficult. Voice flashing away, not really wanting to entertain any more damage from that LeBlanc back-to-back, though. Those Ash Arrows have gone onto Goodo, so soaked up by the right person. Understandably then,
they have
there's no need to burn that Cataclysm, but they are on the Baron. The vision has been denied. Mammoth will have to face check, and what is the turning potential? Because there is no equalizer, and that would be the big one in a choke spot like this. The Baron down to 50%, they will peel away. They're going to utilize those Warmogs now, but the Keeper's verdict being looked at. The Weaver's Wolves there too. 2 members locked away. No. The Solar Flare completely wished there as a slow, not that as a stun. And with Styx dropping low, with only a Doran's Blade to his name, I think he's just gone. That is what's happened to Jovi. Stepped up aggressively for just a second, and Mammoth wasted no time to pressure him back. In they go though. Coley says we can fight this in a 4v5. 2-man Cataclysm. Can they find the kill? They simply can't. They'll get one onto Praetor, but that's about it. Mammoth just too strong when they're grouped up as 5.
Yeah, we're going to see if Goodo can be the miracle Baron Sealer here. I think it's pretty easy for the members of Mammoth to keep him out of the pit, but they're going to feel pressure to do this because this is their one window to attack the game. We see very important to pay attention to Jovi's death timer. He does have access to the TP, and when he comes here, he'll be very easy for him to clean up these kills. So Reneko's peeling up the Baron. They're losing a lot of damage. Congrats left in the pit.
They certainly are. They're all looking towards Coley. Tries
it.
to go for the flag and drag, disengage away. But I think he'll be happy in the thought that, well, my death's not been in vain. They have at least stopped the Baron.
Yeah, really nice ult from Gudo initially, which means that he doesn't die even though he's CC'd here. Jovi, very aggressive of using Fog of War here, tries to find the kill, but it's just really nice reactions from Gudo and Predator especially, you know, gets the CC out before it matters. Voice zoning out the main members, and we see Styx forced to flash. You know, they want to keep fighting, they want to keep extending this as much as possible, but he's forced to flash straight away. Predator with another really nice shove. And I think from this point, it's so hard for the members to fight when you're just losing so much health for all this AoE that's happening right now.
You certainly are unable to find access to the key targets they're after, and unable to try and be as annoying as they really want to be, right? You poke your head out for 1 second, and like a sniper squad, Mammoth just pounce upon you, lock you up against that terrain, and you're unable to utilize all those fancy feet, dashes and flashes to, you know, lurk away back into the shadows once more. Jovi, though, has just hit a massive power spike with that pickup of the Rabadons, and as you can see there, has the most gold in the game. Really is a fighting force, but it has been Guncrab that's been quietly achieving, to be honest, all game, as you mentioned very early on to this one, with the second most in the game for his team.
Yeah, Guncrab is definitely quietly achieving, but we see a lot of ults going on to Voice right now. If he falls down, we might see the Baron being pulled again, Skimmy.
Yeah, Keeper's verdict, too little too late, is unfortunately unable to hit anything on this occasion as well, so they've lost one of their major engaged sources. And having just pushed out the mid wave, they will turn their attention straight back towards the Baron and say, come on, Mammoth, fight us one more time.
I think this might be a mistake pulling the Baron, Skimmy. They are down way too many ultis right now, and they just don't have the damage, especially like LeBlanc doesn't want to be hitting the Baron. She wants to be playing for these flanks, and there's just no threat onto Guncrab or Predator right now without these main engaged tools.
Order looking at Reneko, the Hex Drinker shield has already been popped. Doraemon getting peppered by Pebbles from afar. The flash out of the Cataclysm, only Guncrab remains in that one, so instantly Hex Flash jumps in, the cleanses burn. He still has not anything left in the tank, no flash, no disengage ability. And it will be another 2 in the end. It's 3 overall, and not a single member of Iron drops.
Yeah, and that's the split up of the team fights. We see Predator's forced onto the top side of the fight, so he's unable to clean up onto the engage from Guncrab, and unfortunately, we see that, you know, back-to-back engages happening where they engage first, blow the steadfast Predators from Gudo, wait it out, engage again. They don't have to disengage anymore. And all of a sudden, we're into a Baron flip right now, and can Gudo get this one?
Ash Arrow straight off called and there to actually guarantee it. You can see how close that was. It's not even a smite to guarantee. It was actually picked up by Styx of all people. Jovi has just hit level 16, dashes one way, the other team members go the other, and really rely upon the ability to use that empowered Baron recall to get back to base and run.
Yeah, this is really nice by On. They were on the map first, being very aggressive, but we have to go back in this replay, and I'll show you what I mean, Simi. You know, they engage initially, and Gudo uses his tools to disengage. Coley is just sitting in the fog, waiting, and then because Gudo doesn't have his steadfast presence to deny engage, Guncrab's caught out of position, and Predator just can't trade. He can't do the damage he needs to right now because he's just on the wrong position in this team fight.
Yeah, getting hunted down there by Doraemon, really making sure that you're unable to sit across the wall very safely. Hitting him with skill shots from afar, unable to operate in the same way that the marksman style of Averus would want to. If they get in your face, it is very difficult to escape, especially with that flash summoner being down. But should be up and available for this next fight, which will be the potential Cloud Soul point here for Mammoth. 2 minutes though for them to endure that of an Ion Baron push. And I'm curious to see where they want to go. They did all that great work towards top lane earlier to get 2 turrets in quick succession, but they've still got to take down mid-tier 1.
Yeah, but we get to see the strength of the LeBlanc on the silent. If that chain landed scheme, I think that might have been lights out, but Predator, that was so close. We always talk about how strong LeBlanc is right now, but in the 5v5, it is quite hard to do damage. You know, you can't really distort forward into the enemy team because of the Poppy, Talia threat, or even like a Renekton stun. If any CC lands, it will be chained and you will die. So the strength of LeBlanc right now is on the silent in the 1v1. Even against the Renekton, she's going to be able to like poke him out and get into a position where she can take these turrets down. Splitting the map up, splitting the team up is Ion's aim of the game, whereas Mammoth, they want to be grouped. They want to find these engages in front and back positions.
Well, it seems at this stage, Tally, all 3 lanes are pushing at once. 3 cannons inspired by the Baron buff is pretty nice to say the least. As Jovi once again looks to tease at an opportunity to take down Predator in a single 1v1. Not to be the case though, Solar Flare goes out, only the slow is there. Cleanse Burn in that previous fight means that Guncrab
has to cop it in its entirety. As soon as that one expires, he flashes out the safety. Hexflash picks it up in the end with the Ignite. The Cataclysm burn just to add flare to the flames. As in the end, it's not enough for Voice to run away from that one. The Flame Spitter Rumble, too much to get through. And with a Baron Bust still remaining for another 30 seconds, they might look to do some serious damage to the Nexus itself.
Yeah, I think they can absolutely end the game here, especially with this way, especially if we're flashing forward. But maybe this is an overextension, Skimmy. Maybe this is way too deep from Hexflash.
It looks like he's seen a moment to try and shine and excel. He's actually drawn their attention elsewhere. Their wave is still incredibly stacked up. One turret falls on down. The Baron for another 15 seconds as they look at that second Nexus turret, looking at Styx to try and weave in those auto attacks to get it done. And expose base to try and open up game one in their favor. And there you have it. 31 minutes on the dot. And Ion finished with a bang.
Yeah, a surprisingly tough game for Ion there, and I think that might come down to how they drafted, you know, putting the, as we do see, the bot gap bid, but it's empty right now, Skiri, and I think, you know, we're going to have to wait to see if that one does get filled up in the rest of the series. And I'm curious to see if Ion want to come back with that same type of team comp, because Mammoth looks pretty comfortable into it, and, you know, this game might have gone either way on a different day.
To say, I actively look forward to Iron games when you just know that Styx is going to pull some kind of crazy shenanigan in the post-game celebrations. But as you say, yeah, phenomenal game overall. I think Mammoth can certainly hold their head high, knowing how close things were, despite being behind for what felt like the majority of that one. Unfortunately, in the end, it was a single Baron fight into a bit of a split push that got it done to get them in the lead. Iron lead at the break. We'll jump to a quick break, and when we return, it's game number 2.
Against the Rumble, but we see lots of